question one is, how do you find technology? How do you define technology? Is it good, evil, useful? Or
I would think it's really useful. I feel like technology connects us to a wealth of information, and as a teacher especially, I think that's exciting.
Question two is technology useful in your classroom? If so, how?
Well, definitely. We do a lot of research and looking up different things on the two laptops that we have in here. That's been really helpful. If one gets bored or something, we really notice that it's missing because we use them so often. I think even when we're talking about projectors or some of the other pieces of technology, I mean, we've got some plants growing in here, and we're using some lighting for that. So even that's potentially technology, right? So there are a lot of different things that we use on a daily basis that are really helpful.
Question four is, or question three, I guess. Do you prefer going like old style when you run into trouble? Like, do you use a dictionary, or do you immediately go to like Google or a phone or something for it?
Definitely, I would say that using books or kind of old school resources are a great way to start. It's a great place to start from, and it gives you some ideas. Then when you're searching on the internet, or if you're looking through some online encyclopedias, you've got some ideas of the specific things to search. You've got an idea of what you're looking for already, because if you just go in not really having done some of that research beforehand, there's so much information that you can look at that it can be pretty confusing.
Question four is, what comes to your mind when you catch a student on class? Like, what's your first thought?
Like on their phone in class? I'm ticked off. I want them to put it away. Because for the most part, we don't use cell phones for research and for learning, but definitely there's a time and a place for it. But for, I would say 90% of the time during class time, they're not using it for class purposes.
Do you think cell phones are a good idea in the classroom?
I think that they could definitely serve a purpose. But for the most part, I think that they end up being a little bit more of a distraction than they end up being helpful.
Why do you think some teachers are having such a hard time accepting the cell phones and technology in class?
Because they're a distraction, and what ends up happening is that we're trying to learn something, and we're trying to be 100% focused on the lesson. So whether the teacher is standing in front of the class talking, or whether we're doing an activity, or whether needing to be doing an experiment or something like that, often people use their cell phones to be texting their friends or to be looking something up online, and they're not really engaged in what they're learning. And as teachers, that's what we want. We want our students to be engaged in the things that we're doing in class.
What do you think would be a way to bring cell phones and technology into class?
Well, I guess when students are doing some inquiry learning, they can use their cell phones to look some things up on the internet if they don't have computers. They could do some brainstorming with other people. I don't know, it depends what those other people are doing, right? And whether they should be in class or not, if they should be using theirs. But you can definitely communicate back and forth and ask a lot of questions, contact a lot of different people that way.
All right, well, that's all we got. Thank you very much.
Okay, perfect. You're